Good morning students, welcome you all for online classes. In last video we have discussed about creating up an array. Okay, today we will discuss on traversing up an array. Okay, so these all are the array operations. In the previous video we have seen creating and other operations of an array are inserting, deleting, traversing, searching and sorting. These all are array operations, and another three concepts will come, that is what do you mean by a multi-dimensional array and polynomials and sparse matrix. These concepts are based on array. Okay, so we have discussed about this creating up an array. Now we will discuss traversing up an array. Okay, traversing means we have to display the array elements. Okay, if we want to print or count the data elements inside of an array, can be accomplished by traversing or display. It is accessing and processing each element in the array exactly once. So that's what we can call, it's a one operation, that is traversing. Okay, how we will implement this array traversing? One thing you have to remember, that traversing means display, okay, or print the array elements. So we required one statement, that is printf elements are. We have to print the elements, then use the for loop. Here initialization of I is what, with 0. Why 0? Because array starts with index 0, okay, 1 and 2 and so on. So that's why we have to initialize array index as I variable, and value is what, 0. So I equal to 0. Then I less than n. N is what here? N is array size. How much array size you have given, that is the size, that's called as n. So it always less than n, then incrementing the I. So if conditions are true, then execute the below statement. So what is the below statement? You are printing or you are displaying with format specifier followed by array name and I. I means what? Here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Okay, so this kind of logic I have explained in previous video. Okay, if you are not understanding that concept, today I am going to show you, okay, how these elements will going to display. So this I value becomes what, 0, 1 and 2. Our array has the index 0, 1, 2, so 0, 1, 2 followed by what values will going to display. Okay, this is what about traversing up an array. Now I want to write a C program for this array. So I need array size is what, 5, and after inserting 5 I have to insert array elements 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, so to implement this kind of program, first we required what, we are implementing in C language. So hash include stdio.h and void main. Inside the void main we have to declare variable. How many variables we required for implementing this program? See, we need array. Okay, so we have to define array. So array we have defined and size is 10. Then we required what size of the array. So for that we have to need another variable, that is n, and we are using for loop in our program. So for loop, it requires one more variable, that is I variable. Okay, I hope you understood these three variables why we are using. First, A is what? Array. Then n is array size. Then I is looping purpose we are using. Next, I want to print a statement, enter the array size. Okay, to print this statement, which line should I use? I want to print this sentence. Okay, so to print this sentence we should use printf statement. Printf enter the array size. Okay, after printing this I am going to type array size is 5. So I want to store this 5 on another variable. So I already told that n is what? It holds the address, it holds the array size. So array size is how much? 5. So it has to store on which variable? N. To store or read, which statement should I use here? Scanf statement. Scanf format specifier, that is %d, then followed by variable name and preceded by address operator. So this is done. Next, enter array elements. I want to print this message. To print this message, which statement should I use? Again, printf statement. Printf enter array elements. So enter array elements. Okay, after printing this I am going to type 10, 20, 30 and 40 and the last one is 50, because array size is how much? 5. So this is 5 elements. Okay, to store these 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 we need for loop. Okay, for loop. I initialization of I with what? 0. So 0. Then I less than n, because n value is what? Here 5. This I already shown in previous video. Okay, I less than n. If condition is true, execute the below statement. Below statement is what? Scanf. Scanf is used to read the element. Okay, if we type 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50, it will going to store on which variable? A of I. Okay, so this is what? Creating up an array. These lines will indicate that creating up an array. Okay, next one is we have to print or traverse the array elements. How? See, this is our array. Here how many elements we have stored? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These all are what? Index of an array. Okay, this is our array name is A. Here address will come. Okay, values we have inserted 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so in this way we have inserted the values or items onto the array. Now we want to print this, so again we should use for loop. Your elements are, it has to print. So for I equal to 0, I less than n, same for loop we are using, but except statement is changed. In previous statement we have used scanf, but here we are using printf. Printf is for printing the elements. Format specifier followed by array name, then looping variable is what? I. So we have to write I here. So it will going to display 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Elements are, it will going to print, and inside this for loop we are printing the values, that is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, this is about array operation, that is creating and traversing. Okay, this one is a lab program, the data structure and applications lab first program. Please try to concentrate. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Okay, now I am going to give a demo on this program. So first we have to type #include stdio.h. Now void main function, we need variables, that is int array name. I am going to give size 10, then n to store the size. Next one is I variable. So printf enter array size. Then after printing I have to store that size, so use scanf statement, %d address. We have to store that value, right? To store that value we need memory address, that's why we have written address operator. Then on which variable we are storing? On n variable, that's it. Next line printf enter array elements. So after it asking enter array elements, you have to type your elements, okay, one by one. So to type this we need what? For loop. It has to ask one by one, right? So initialization of I equal to what? 0, then I less than n, then increment the I value. So here which statement should I use? I am going to store the value. To store the value use scanf statement, %d, then address. On which variable you are storing these elements? On array. Array variable is what? Or array name is A. So address of A, index wise you are storing. So close. Next you have to, this is what? Creating up an array. These lines indicates that creating up an array. Next we are displaying. Displaying means one printf statement you need, that is printf elements are. this is a new line, and here we have to print those array elements with the help of for loop only. Okay, for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Here we are using scanf to store, but here we have to use what? Printf. Printf %d, new line I am putting, then a of I, close the main function. Okay, let's compile this program. DSA array.c. compilation is done. Now execute these statements. See here, first it is asking enter the array size. Here I am going to give array size 5. Okay, this 5 is stored it on variable n. Okay, then press enter. So again it is asking enter array elements. So here we have to give elements or insert the elements. Okay, one by one it will going to store on array variable 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. After pressing 5th element, cursor will come out for this loop and directly it will going to display elements are. See, if I press enter, directly elements will going to display. Elements are 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. This is what traversing up an array, and this is creating up an array. Okay, I hope these two operations are clear. If you are not understanding, please ask me, because next concepts will become little bit difficult for you. Okay, thank you.